Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hog Talk Podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All shows are presented to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes, alongside me as always is Anna Hall. Tonight's show will break down the Arkansas LSU game, talk some men's basketball, and coaching news and more. But we'll start right with the meat and potatoes, Adam. It just another one score loss, another game where it just didn't. It just seemed like a funk, even when you're watching the game and there was like nobody in the stands to watch the game. It was a weird feeling for an Arkansas LSU game, and for it to end the way it did, very fitting for Arkansas. And another one score loss for Bobby Petrino. The most emotion he showed up was during the halftime speech with the reporter, but it just didn't seem like they could just get anything going during that game.
No, it didn't at all. It was ugly, and we expect these games to be ugly. And it's one of those you start out 14-0, feeling good, and then just everything just kind of imploded. We finally got a special teams touchdown.
Yeah.
And, that was crazy. I think they said it was the first time since like 21 or 22 against Missouri that we had done or blocked a punt or something or another. It was just one of those that I'm not shocked by it. I'm not shocked by the final score, the end of the game. I believe I looked it up, and that is the 6th one-loss score this season for Arkansas, a one-score loss. And the record is 8 games held by Nebraska from 2021 or 2018. I forget which. So we can tie that record with 2 more one-score losses to end the season. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Talon had 2 picks, and it was one of those things that I left the TV on, but I just wanted to turn it off multiple times. But yeah, Petrino during halftime, he was fit to be tied, to say the least.
Yeah, it's just that clip. I think we have the clip. Just how much fire he showed.
Yeah, here we go.
With Coach Petrino.
Coach, you were frustrated after the end of that offensive drive.
Bad for our players. We come down here, we got a chance to score a touchdown. They don't make the call.
What are you going to say to your team at the half?
We're going to go fight. We're going to keep fighting, all right? We'll have to play everybody.
Taylor?
Fired up coach right there that feels like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel worse for that reporter or the next reporter because, then at that point, he's just like, hey, I'm just trying to get back to the team.
Yeah.
So he was definitely, and rightfully so. I mean, it was, in the lack of a better term, it was nonsense. And then, realizing that officiating crew was the same officiating crew from the previous game where Arkansas had 18 penalties. It made sense when we started seeing those things during this game.
Yeah. And there's just so many things, and you can point to that one thing, but like I've said all season, if it's an isolated event or an isolated deal, yes, let's bring it up. But when this has happened to you all season long, you start off to a 14-point lead, and then what happened? And only 7 of those points was off your offense. You had a special teams play. And Taylor just wasn't, on his game. I mean, that's just all there is to it. He went 11 for 19, 165. I mean, there's just, again, throws that he was making that were just not there. And again, when he can throw your bubble screens, or he can throw the slants, or he can run out of the pocket, he's good. But when it comes to stepping in the pocket, throwing it downfield, or throwing on the run, it's just not there. And then you see it when he does throw the picks, it's right in the guy's. I mean, the dude sits there and just watches him stare down the receiver, and then he comes in front of it. So there's just so many frustrations. And I guess, I feel bad for Bobby Petrino, but at some point you've got to put this on him too. there's so many people that I'm seeing after the game still wanting him to be the head coach next year. That blows my mind that there are still people out there that want him to be the head coach next year. We said it last week. You're not asking him to go 5-0 against Alabama, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia. You just want him to beat Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU. You're wanting him to beat teams that are down there at the bottom with you. And if you can't do that and you want to keep him around, how are you going to be able to beat those teams above you? How are you going to compete and get to that championship playoff caliber team where if the cards are right, you can get there? And just like we said, Sam isn't the guy. Bobby's not the guy. He's a good offensive coordinator, but running the whole team, he just don't. He just don't have it.
No, and this comment, we've been talking about this really heavily since last week, since Yurachek was named the committee chair. But does anyone not find it concerning that Yurachek seems like he's not had enough time or ability to hire a head coach or convince boosters for more money, and then he goes and becomes more busy with the committee?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We talked about that on Thursday's show.
I'm just not convinced he's not committed to helping the program truly be better. He's in this for a resume building. We said this last week. This is all about what he can do for himself. We were told, others were told, I know, two, large media personalities on one show will probably beg to differ here, but a lot of folks were told when the coaching search started that Hunter Yurachek would have no part in it.
Yeah.
I don't know to what extent that was or if that is still holding true. I'm taking it for what we've all been told, that he's not a part of the search. And so, we see and hear the money and the offers being thrown around out there with the NIL deals. And I point blank period. I hope that Hunter Yurachek is not involved in this. He doesn't want to be here. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, like we've talked about. So it's one of those that at this point, after seeing, more of the James Franklin to Virginia Tech steam picking up and whatever the case may be, I just kind of look at it like I'm not let down in the sense of Arkansas not getting James Franklin. I'm just kind of not surprised, I guess is a better term, because I'm just sitting here like whatever happens at this point.
Yeah, and I know sometimes when I put things out there, I guess I need to put, because I'm speaking for both of us when I put a tweet out, but to me, I think they're dodging a bullet by bringing him in. That's my personal opinion. I just don't think he is going to be able to come into Arkansas and rebuild this and get them to 8 to 10 wins. I don't think he's going to be able to do that consistently. We don't need somebody in here that's going to get us to maybe a 1-7-8 win year and then fall back down. We need somebody to come in here that's going to build a program. I just don't see him doing that. That's just me. And with this right here, blame Petrino for staying with Taylor Green. Perfect example. Mm-hmm. If you really wanted to, all right, I'm going to run this thing next year, you have to at some point. Yes, Taylor's great. But he's done his job. He has not won one single big game for Arkansas in his 2 years at Arkansas. You can't name one. The biggest win he had nothing to do with. Well, not nothing to do with the game, but for the win, Malachi Singleton won that game. And this is the thing that a lot of people they'll say, but Bobby Petrino recruited Taylor Green. Bobby Petrino brought this offense in. Bobby Petrino recruited a lot of these guys. He's been here 2 years. Just because he's the head coach, he brought a lot of these offensive guys in. So to say that, well, this isn't his team, he's been with this 2 years. He's had enough time to be able to step in and beat Auburn, beat Mississippi State, beat LSU. Again, I go back to what I just said. You're not wanting him to be a world beater and take down number 1, number 2 in the country. You want him to get bowl eligible and beat some of these lower tier teams. So there was just, again, so many people riding with Bobby Petrino, and I'm one of the few, and Adam, you might be the same way, is this is why we're always stuck in the rut. We want to stick with who's been good 15 years ago. We want to stick with what brought us greatness. You know, that's what you're wanting to do. You think, and I'm not saying Rhett Lashley couldn't win at Arkansas, but you're wanting Rhett Lashley to be the coach solely on he was a quarterback at Arkansas. He played high school football at Arkansas. He has Arkansas ties. That's probably 80% of the reason why y'all want him to be here at Arkansas. You want Arkansas people. And I'm not saying you don't need those local ties. That's what maybe your AD does, or the ambassador, or whoever, GM. But you need a coach. You got to throw some of that stuff out the window. Who is going to come here and win? Who is going to come here and be a Golick? Who's going to come in here and be a Signetti? Who's going to come here and be a Lanning? That's what it's going to take now in this era, because now it's about money. They don't care about 15, 20 years ago when Mallett and McFadden were here. They want to come in, get paid, and win ball games.
I mean, like we've said before, I mean, everybody's entitled to, you know, their own opinions, but at the same time, I mean, I don't feel like we as a whole have came in here to bash Coach Petrino at any point in time. It's one of those that, yes, we've criticized him just like we would criticize anybody in the head coaching position at the University of Arkansas, or any coaching position for that matter, because we've been critical of coordinators and position coaches and whatever else. But I am just kind of over the whole, like, hey, let's run it back with somebody that was here 15 years ago because we felt good then. Football has changed. I mean, you're in a world now that, I mean, between NIL and transfer portal, you ran off Nick Saban. You're running off other coaches. I mean, you're going to end up running off Dabo Swinney because he won't adapt. It's one of those things that there's been nothing to show any of us that Coach Petrino would be just as successful as 2010. Nothing whatsoever. All the people that were, you know, coming out like, oh, let him be the permanent head coach, and then he'll go hire a DC. Point me out a point in Coach Petrino's history where he has gone to hire a valid DC, please. When has he had a great defense? But we think all of a sudden now he's going to go and do it. It's just one of those that I get. I'm not necessarily frustrated, but it's like repeating yourself over and over and over. It's, if you don't want Bobby Petrino to be the permanent head coach, you're wrong in a lot of people's eyes. And it gets kind of old. I mean, I don't understand why we don't want new blood. Why don't you want a whole new regime change? Is it because it's unknown? Guess what? It's going to be unknown if Coach Petrino takes over again.
Yeah. And you brought up a good point too. We're talking about going back to where's KJ at? If you really want to come in and be the coach, and you really want to, there was a lot on Bobby Petrino for winning games. You have to win this. Why not roll out KJ to help get him game reps, to help get him ready for next season? That's where I'm at, because I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at the roster, and really outside of Jackson and Braylon Russell, who are they going to have next year on this offense? Washington's gone. Green's gone. Harrison, if he ever comes out of his funk, Sisse, however you pronounce his last name, Jaylen Brown's a redshirt sophomore. Why not be able to get him in there and get some reps? Get him in there and get ready. And to me, it's like that would show that, hey, I want to stick around and be the head coach next year. Try to build something. But he's not. He's rolling with Talon, and Talon's just not getting it done. And maybe he's cashed out. Maybe it's one of them. He's just going out there. And half the team is just, they want to win. It's a competitive, but that's only going to get you so far.
Well, and it's one of those too with Talon. We get it. You're leading the country in yards produced or whatever statistic they keep throwing out there. But at the same time, you still have a 2-8 football team. So you're still going to need the combine to get drafted, in my opinion, just because you're leading the country in yards per game. You know, like I said, you're still 2-8. Courtney Crutchfield, I would not be surprised after the way this season gone. we saw him, the first glimpse of him yesterday with a good catch. I mean, a solid grab. But why wouldn't he hit the portal? I mean, it's one of those things that you're going to see a run on players, no matter who the coach is that comes in. It's one of like with LSU when Brian Kelly was let go. You're not necessarily going to lose a whole lot in the recruiting world because those players go to LSU to go to LSU. They weren't going there for Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
So you've got to this whoever the coach is that comes in. I mean, he's going to have to rely on the transfer portal for next season's roster heavily.
And another thing to bring up about Bobby Petrino is before the season, they're like, oh my gosh, this is year 2 with Taylor Green. He is going to be so much better. He is the quarterback whisperer. You see how everything's going. Everybody's leaving. Do you trust that Bobby Petrino has it in him to rebuild a whole football team? You're going to have to totally rebuild your defense, and you're going to have to totally rebuild your offense. Grant, and that's if everything we're hearing is true about the money situation. It's going to take $40 million to rebuild this team if you want to get a good team in here. Mm-hmm. But that's the good thing about getting it from scratch. You go in from the top to the bottom, bulldoze this thing, and rebuild. You get the money, and you get a lot of good players to come in here. And with them players coming in, they know it's not going to take 6 years. They can come in as juniors or seniors and compete for a bowl game or shock the world and win 8-10 games. And then in the second year, they could sit there and compete for a shot at the college football playoffs. But it's going to take a total rebuild. It's going to be a total rebuild next year.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
is Bobby ready for that?
I don't. Now that's where I'm at, and I don't know if he is. I'm looking at, different coaches that are names have been thrown around there, but now that James Franklin is more or less out of the picture, you're going to start hearing more names come to light or more names talked about more. And the ones that are being thrown out there, I mean, they're in their 40s for the most part, and I think that's where you've got to go. And I'm with the people too that think that we should go after a defensive minded coach and then get a good OC. I'm all for that. It's one of those things that I feel like that right now, especially even in the landscape of the SEC, we've seen kind of a down year defensively. But you see a team like Texas A&M and Mike Elko, defensive coach, and what he's done. And yes, I know that they have more means than Arkansas does when it comes to money and things of that nature. But yeah. I'm looking at these and I'm like, you're going to have to start taking playbooks from some of these other schools that have found success within 2 to 4 years of hiring their new coach. And I think that's one of those that we and I say we, I mean, the board, the search committee, whoever, we've got to stop this whole who makes us feel good, who has ties here. I mean, I would rather see somebody that has a good recruiting profile and good ties to, Texas and Louisiana and Georgia and Florida. And at the same time, when you build these things, then you'll start getting those in-state players that want to come here.
Yeah.
But we cannot build this team off of in-state players in the state of Arkansas when high school football is behind other states. You're not.
And you had the chance to get Kane Archer. I'll tell you that. If they would have pursued him and stayed after him, and you talk about something that get behind him and let him do his thing. Not saying he would have been a freshman starter phenom like Mitch Mustang, but talking to his dad and talking to him when we had him on, the dude's mind is there. He can read defenses. He can go in there and you talk about he doesn't have the size, but he has. Look at Brandon Allen. If you want to go back between him and between now and Tyler, or between him and Now in Ryan Mallett, who is the best quarterback? Brandon Allen's up there. He wasn't this all 6'4", 6'6" guy with a crazy arm, but he's still playing in the NFL right now. He could do damage. He can do what it takes. And guess what? He has that blood. He has that fire. He has that to be here at Arkansas and win. And it would be a gamble, but that's somebody that you could start with. You could build something on, because right now, where are you at? Yeah, you have nothing right now.
I mean, you have potentially, a 2-10 season incoming.
Yeah.
You're literally back at the bottom. I mean, I know I fought you on this earlier in the season, but yeah, you're back in the basement, if you will. Now, I will still say we're not the laughing stock of the nation that we were under Chad Morris, so that's why I still put this season above anything that has Chad Morris's name on it.
Yeah,
but it's tough place to be. It's tough to sit through these games when you're right there. We've talked about this before too. I would rather get blown out than have a 1-point loss like this that we had yesterday. I don't honestly, I know that there's been rumblings too of like Taylon's knee, and then the shot that he took against Mississippi State, where he hit his head, where it looked to be head, neck area, whatever. He looked slow yesterday when he was running. Yeah, I know he had that big run that was however long it was, but he looked off. He looked slow. Yeah. And I know Arkansas's had issues in the past of, the first game after bye weeks and such, but I don't want to say he's fully checked out just for this grand scheme of he's still vying for the NFL. So it's one of those things that he's not going to just like up and quit. And I don't think he has, but I do think that there is something lingering with him. But point blank period, I'd rather them come out and say it and give the reins to KJ Jackson for the next 2 to 3 games.
Season. And they'll spin it on us. And you'll listen to these shows, listen to the shows that want to pick on everybody else. After the season, we're going to find out, oh my gosh, Taylon Green was such a warrior. He was playing with this, and this all season long. And that's what they'll do. They'll spin it. And that's the thing. So instead of sending him out or not sending him out there and letting him fully get healed, maybe if it took an extra game and say you win 3 more of these, that's on the head coach. But then again, is NIL getting in the way of this? Hey, look, he's getting paid. We need him out there. There's so many questions with that. But if that's Bobby Petrino's decision, if you know your quarterback is not 100%, are you saying him at 70% better than KJ Jackson? What are you losing at that point? You're losing games. Why not give him a chance? Why not give him a half? And then if he's just not ready, if it is a Malik Hornsby kind of situation, you can put Taylon Green back in there. But why not let him come in there and get a chance and prove it?
And, we pointed this out, before.
It's not the problem.
Problem. Every other program in the athletic department is thriving. Okay, I'm not going to answer this question because we have on the show before, but I would like you in the comments to let us know the actual hires by Hunter Yurachek. I don't consider any of the track hires, like the recent ones, to be his because they were all just bumped up from within the ranks when somebody retires. So y'all can sort that out in the comments, but Hunter Yurachek has not made a whole lot of hires at the University of Arkansas outside of Eric Musselman that have been successful. So it's one of those that I just don't see why we want to fight for a guy that doesn't want to fight for this university.
And yet we'll go be on the College Football Playoff Commission. And
music. Yeah.
And I'm not going to pick on the women's basketball team. This is her first year. I mean, he worked out, but you've seen what would happen. And this is a good part of this. Where would Arkansas basketball be right now if it wasn't for John Tyson? And then come back and say that Hunter Yurchek made a good hire with Muss. He was a hothead and he won, but as soon as things started going south, we seen what happened. What if Muss is such a good coach? What's going on at USC? You know, I'm not saying he was a freaking John Pelfrey or bottom of the barrel. He did good things here. But you're looking at Pittman and you're looking at Petrino. You're looking at who else? Chad Morris. You know, what are we doing? And it's these people that stand by Hunter, you stand by Bobby Petrino, you're spinning in the mud. Because let's say all of this is true and we keep this. You are settling for mediocrity. If you want to keep all this people, we're going to win 6-7 games a year. Is that what you want? Do you want to win 6-7 games and now be 2-10 again? Or do you want to start leveling up? If you want to stay where you are, keep Hunter Yurchek, keep Bobby Petrino, and let's roll with it. Because that, I guess, apparently that's what some of y'all want. Y'all want to stay at the 6-7 peak. And if a coach wins 9 games one time in 10 years for the program, we go crazy. Is that what y'all want?
I'd give a lot for 6 to 7 wins right now.
Right now. But that's the thing. Yeah. That's what y'all are, not you. I'm saying that's what y'all are hoping for. You want to get out of the basement. That's the problem. We don't want to be in the basement. We don't want to be in the bottom of the SEC. We want to be an 8 to 10 win program every year. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want 8-9 games that was your standard, and a slip year was 7, you had a down year. And in the SEC, that is very possible. I would take that if you had a team and you know what, we couldn't compete with the big dogs, but we're winning the games that we're supposed to, and we're winning 7-8 games every year. And then if you get a nice year, you go 10 wins. Because guess what? 10 wins get you in the college football playoff now. Sometimes if all the cards played right, and if they go to 16 teams, 9 wins might get you in the college football playoff. But if you keep going down this track, and if you keep defending these people that still are mediocre and subpar, that's what you're going to get. But don't be the ones that are saying you want coach change, but then defend them when we're saying there needs to be a change.
Oh, and there was a comment about Coach Pittman basically getting the shaft when it came to money and things like that. I wholeheartedly agree. He was not given the same resources that the next coach will probably likely get. And that is not Pittman's fault. But at the same time, you had an athletic director who was not fundraising like every other athletic director.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's one of those that I feel for Pittman. He was given a short deck, but at the same time, what can you do in that situation? I mean, he wasn't given the resources, and it's crazy as we didn't start hearing that as an excuse until the last couple of years.
Yeah. And Ty, that's what I was talking about. In a 9-game SEC schedule and a 16-team playoff, if you win 9 games in the SEC, more than likely, or 9 games in a season, if the cards are played right, that could get you in, because there is even talk now in the 12-team playoff that a 3-loss SEC team can get into the playoffs. But the point is, there's been a bunch of factors of where Hunter Yurchek's failed. And anything that is his job now is outsourced right now. He's not, from what we're being told, this is from the hires up. This ain't our mush brain saying this. He's not a part of the coaching search. So he doesn't have a hand in the coaching search. He has outsourced his raffle. He has outsourced the edge that now is gone. He has outsourced a committee to find a sponsor for the stadium name because he couldn't fundraise for it. Last year, you talk about funds for the football team and not giving Pittman the resources he needs. You could have done that last year when you sat there and said Walmart and Tyson aren't going to save the football program. that you could have done that last year. He didn't do it. And when I'm being told by some people that there's a certain business bank that inquired to be the stadium name, you turned it down. And, you know, it's things where you've had instances where people have come and wanted to do things, but you've turned it down. So, yes, Hunter Yurachek is every bit of the problem.
Probably because he's, you know, against some hillbillies out there with those banks.
Yeah.
So, anyway, you can put those two pieces together.
Maybe. I don't know. It's been a long time, so I don't know if they might be able to put the pieces together, but we'll see.
It's, you know, it's a crappy spot to be in. Everybody's unhappy. Nobody has the right answer. But here's the thing, too, is, hey, guess what? I'm not going to sit here and call anybody out, or fans-wise, viewer-wise, on who they want to listen to, whose opinions they enjoy, whose they believe, whatever the case may be. I'm not going to sit there and bash you for who you listen to on a daily basis, as should others. Shouldn't be doing that either. So it's one of those. I want each and every person watching, listening, whatever. You know, if you get bored on your drives to work during the week, Monday through Friday, or you're sitting at work, or if you don't work, if you work nights and you're awake, whatever, I just wish all of you folks would just, you know, call in, text in, whatever the case may be, and just, you know, let those guys up on the hill know how you really feel, because I think they need
know what you're hearing.
Yeah, just to see the gears turn in their head, and to see how frustrated they get with you. Yeah, I think they need it.
And when you're being paid to go a certain route, that's what you're going to get. And to Adam's point, and I've said this a couple of times, if the fans that are sticking behind Hunter Yurachek and you're sticking behind Bobby Petrino, every right to do that. Just be ready for the mediocrity. Be ready for the 5 wins. Be ready for the 2 wins. Because that's what's going to happen if we keep accepting how things are going. And we're not going to call anybody dumb or idiots or you're crazy for this. It's just a fact. We've seen this since Bobby Petrino left. You've had a good couple of years here and there. But if you want to program, if you want to build and you want to kind of look at Vanderbilt, by the way. I mean, they might not win all their games, but they're a respected team in the SEC now. That wasn't happening 5 years ago. Look at Indiana. They were a laughing stock of Big Ten football. Now they are being looked at as a competitive team in the Big Ten and college football playoffs. There's other programs out there that are doing that. I mean, Lincoln Riley, he got a lot of crap for going to USC, for ducking the SEC, and they said he would never do anything out on the West Coast. If they beat Oregon next week, they're going to the college football playoff. So do you want somebody to come in and build a program and get you? Because, guys, light in the end of the tunnel is it can happen in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
It could very well. That's not a pipe dream. That's not sunshine pumping. You get the right money. You get the right coaches. You're going to get the right players. You can do it at Arkansas. Arkansas can be in the college football playoffs. That's all there is to it.
We'll see what happens.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. After the break, we will switch gears over to the basketball team. 2 more games left before they play Duke on Thanksgiving. And we'll touch on some soccer, women's basketball to wrap things up. But we'll catch you right after the break. Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit
www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need. Whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck, most of our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together.
Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education, industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community. And to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive.
And welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast. Switching gears now over to the basketball team. They had a 79-75 win over, good gosh, I already lost
Samford.
Yeah, Samford. And they have Winthrop up next Tuesday, this Tuesday at Bud Walton Arena. With that, and good Lord, I'm lost track. I was in the middle of a conversation during the commercial break. Let me get my bearings back on the right schedule. Here we go. 2 games this week before they get a week off against Duke, a big Thanksgiving game. I knew that it would be a close game. They're 2 guys. I mean, they're shooting the ball 14, 15 threes a game. Arkansas, I mean, you're going to get this. Arkansas seems like a team. Yes, they're led by their freshmen, but they're going to play down to their competition. And until they change that, we're going to see a lot of these games like this. I mean, it's just how this team's geared to play.
Mm-hmm. I mean, let's see. Samford, they had 4 of their 5 starters in double figures. They had 5 players in double figures. 10 for 29 from 3. You knew that they were going to go out there and shoot them. And I think it hurt a little bit. I'm looking at the thing. Nick Pringle, 0 points in 18 minutes, 0 points, 1 rebound. That was it. I feel like he has been a little bit hot and cold some games. Acuff still led the way with 20 for Arkansas. Malik Thomas, 17. DJ Wagner, 10. Trevin Brazil, 15. So, Brazil rebounded from the previous game that he played. I don't think he played the last game, did he? Whichever it won. But these are those games that Cal schedules for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of look at these schedules sometimes and we're questioning, like, oh, why did he schedule them? Why did he schedule them? Even though he, schedules games like Duke and last year Illinois and whatever the case. He does this for a reason. A lot of these teams that are these mid-majors, low level, they're teams that win their conference tournaments or make the NCAA tournament or push the limits, or it's a type of team you schedule because they play just a completely different type of ball than anybody else that you're going to go against. So it throws you off. I'm glad that they struggle a little bit, because I feel like this is what you look at. This is a game you look at to be like, all right, sigh of relief, we won, but we've got things that we need to work on. And you go and do it. So you clean up some of those things when you play Winthrop and Jackson State, because I'll tell you this, that Duke game, I mean, I don't think anybody thinks it's going to be easy, but I think it's Cam Boozer that's, I mean, basically a walking 20 and 20 double-double. I mean, the kid is ridiculous. And Arkansas is going to have to figure out, I mean, they're going to have to throw every big that we have at him the entire game. This game, this is the first game on this schedule that I'm like, ugh, I'm worried about. And, and it's that's taking nothing against, or not taking a shot at Michigan State or anything like that. But this Duke game is the one that I really didn't want to see on the schedule.
It's one of them you can either hang close with them, you could win, or you could get run by 20. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm glad that this thing is being played at a neutral site. I'm not saying Arkansas doesn't have a chance to win this game. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they won. But just with how good Duke has looked, they're going to have to bring their A game if they're going to win this game. And knowing, and that's the thing, these freshmen coming in ready to play, that is the one thing that now you can say with this new era of college basketball that I love is some of these guys, they're NBA ready. They're just here because they can't go to the NBA right out of high school, and they're ready to go. Now, yes, it still takes them a couple of games, but going back to the schedule, we talked about this when we were opening up the season, is Cal has constructed this schedule perfectly. Mm-hmm. I mean, you had your exhibition games and then Southern before Michigan State, and then you have these games leading up to the Michigan State game. Now you have a couple of games where, Central Arkansas, Sanford, Winthrop, Jackson State, then Duke. You got a 4-game stretch, Duke, because you have Duke and Louisville back-to-back. Mm-hmm. November 27th on Thursday, and then following Wednesday, Louisville. Then you have a Fresno State on Saturday, and then you have a week off before you play Texas Tech. Moving on to that, you have Queens, and then you have Houston. Then you have James Madison before you start SEC play. So, no, he's not. This non-conference schedule is brutal. And you got to throw some of these games in here. But you're looking at these teams like your Sanfords, your Winthrops, your Jackson States. These are going to be some of these teams that you might see in the first round. So these teams that now you're beating, you play them in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and you're playing, they're going to be one of these teams now that can sneak up and beat you. Mm-hmm. We know how March Madness is. So he's not giving you easy opponents. He's giving you lower opponents to get ready for this tournament. This is what building a program does. And you're building this. I would love to see where this ranks among, I know Duke has a brutal schedule. All the top teams, Kentucky, Duke, Michigan State, UConn.
Your Elite Eight teams schedule brutal schedules because a lot of them are playing each other in this non-conference. But I think a lot of this too is Cal looking at last season and the 0-5 start in the SEC, and it's, hey, we're going to put some tougher opponents on the schedule to get ready for because we all know that the SEC is not what it used to be, and so it's going to be a dogfight in the SEC. And so let's have a dogfight in the non-conference to get ready for it instead of cakewalking like some schools do. But I'm all about what the Elite Eight teams and a lot of other teams are doing. It's, hey, let's play each other early on to see where we're at, and then we'll see each other again in the NCAA tournament. I'm all for it because it's giving us better basketball early on.
Yeah, and you need that with these young teams. You're not playing a cupcake schedule, jumping right into SEC play. You're building a resume up because when you go into the first, second round, you're going to be playing. Let's just throw it out there. Maybe a Winthrop first round and then a Texas Tech second round. And then you get in the meat and potatoes of like the real teams, the real dogs that are the Blue Bloods. So how he has constructed this, and you know what, guys, if we're going to pay you $1 million to come play at this university, you're going to play. We're going to give you some teams. But guess what? That's giving these teams, these guys that are really truly going to go to the NBA, you're going to come play for the best and play against the best. How is that going to prepare somebody for the NBA? You're always playing the top talent. You're practicing with the top talent. That's how you're going to really build these NBA stars, because that's what they're used to. And then the transition between college and the NBA is not going to be that much of a draw, because you've played a whole season of competitive basketball in a college setting, and it better prepares you to go get those millions in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. And you're seeing too, starting at the high school level, a lot of these guys are leaving their state, their home states. They're leaving the high schools that, they played with to go to these academies so that they can practice and play ones versus ones, guys that are going to be in the league in the future, because a lot of that talent isn't there in your typical normal high school basketball. So they're having to go to these academies and such. I mean, we're seeing it point blank period with like Malik Thomas, coming from Overtime Elite. We've seen it with Link Academy. And this is what these guys are doing. I think there's like Sunshine Prep. There's several of them all over the country. And that's what these players realize. IMG, yeah. These players realize I have to do to get to that next level. That's why Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff walked in here and immediately had no issues adapting to the college game. None whatsoever. So that's the new wave of the future, if you will. It's one of those that, yeah, you still have your circuit ball, your travel ball in the summers and whatnot, but like these kids in these camp or these academies that they're going to, like they're setting themselves up for their payday, by the time they're 20, 21 years old.
Yeah. And it's going to make it, if the new college basketball is going to model more and more of the NBA product, it's going to make it easier and easier for these kids to come in as freshmen from the overtimes and these elite IMGs and stuff, Sunshines, to come in and be stars, because there's not going to be a difference in gameplay. You're not going to have this structured college game where set plays and screens and all this, and then you go to the NBA. We're starting to see, I was looking at that Sanford guy. 34 threes, I think he had shot in 2 games. Arkansas shot, let's see if I can pull up the stats real quick. They shot 17 threes and Sanford shot 29 threes. That's going to be the new norm. So if you want to see a bunch of threes being shot, college basketball is turning into that. That's what we're seeing. A lot of this run and gun. There's not going to be that as many set plays as what you're used to seeing. And it's funny, that's, Mike Neighbors, when he was at Arkansas, that's what he was running. He was running more of a professional style game with run and gun, 1 rebound, 4 back, and they would shoot a lot of threes. Ended up not, talent went away and started losing. And then he's now with the Sparks, but he still got a WNBA job. It wasn't like he didn't know what he was doing. It's just he didn't have all the resources needed to really perfect that. And then when you're going up against the South Carolinas and all that stuff, it doesn't help either. But this is what we're seeing now. The men's game is starting to transition to that.
One thing that I've noticed, and this is my last little bit on this, is the athleticism and talent basketball-wise is better than we've ever seen. But I will say, from watching high school basketball pretty closely, the basketball IQ, I feel like, is down because we're allowing the athleticism and the talent to take over. And I do feel like we still see a lot of these younger players, especially in high school, that kind of have been coddled a bit, like we've talked about in other sports. But it's something that I feel like basketball IQ is down. It's just one of those things that the athleticism, the talent is up. So kind of makes you wonder where basketball as a whole is going to be over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. And I'm speaking of the women's game. They dropped their first game of the season to Texas Tech 80-68. Arkansas shot 21 threes. Texas Tech shot 19. I mean, this is where we're going. And so if you're recruiting and you're going to get some of these running gunners that are going to be shooting a lot of threes. And so get ready. I mean, if you're transitioning, you're finally done with basketball or football, and you're starting to pay more attention to the basketball, this is what we're going to start seeing. And it's that old Providence offense, shoot a lot of threes. So that's where the dangerousness of these games with Duke, if the threes aren't falling, it could be a close game, or you could get run out of the gym. And that's where a lot of these games could be like that, no matter who they play.
Basketball's here, so that's all I care about.
Yes. And again, sorry about the transition. Come back from break. I was in a conversation, jumped right into it, and I have 5-6 tabs up trying to figure out what screen to go to next. So that was on me on that. But Winthrop is up next Tuesday at Bud Walton Arena. SEC Plus also for the Jackson State game on Friday, November 21st, which we'll cover a little bit more of that on our Thursday episode. Also, the soccer team won their first round matchup against Dartmouth. They play against Washington. Yes, Washington on Thursday in the second round of the NCAA tournament. That will be on ESPN Plus. They will be playing against Washington in Charlottesville, Virginia. So at 2 p.m. So if you want to watch that, keep track of that. On the women's side, they play Little Rock on Thursday, SEC Plus. And then they'll be going to Nashville, Tennessee for the Music City Classic to play Drake and Southern Illinois before they host Harvard on November 30th inside Bud Walton Arena. So there's a rundown. We're starting to get to more sports. More things are happening now that football's out of the way. So stay tuned here. We'll try to give you all of the updates and scores. Adam, you got anything else?
Come back at 8:05 for Hog HQ
8:05.
Live.
All right. Comment section is going to be hopping, because if our comment section was nice, their comment section is going to be hopping. That's the best part of the show. Come in and see what the fans are saying. We want to appreciate everybody for joining in tonight. Thank you to our sponsors. Come back 8:05, Hog HQ with Adam and the guys, and we'll see you on Thursday.